Welcome back to Respoiled. Today, I have another captivating story to share with you. But before we dive in, if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications, so you'll never miss out on all of my latest uploads. Now let's get started. An unconscious man plummets through the sky at breakneck speed. Royce wakes up just in time to deploy his parachute before landing amidst the dense trees of a jungle and losing consciousness upon impact. Moments later, he regains consciousness but finds himself disoriented, unaware of his location or how he arrived there, albeit relieved to still possess his mercenary gear and attire. Suddenly, another man descends and lands nearby. Cuchillo, affiliated with a Mexican cartel, directs his weapons at Royce, but before either can react, a third man plummets between them, his parachute failing to deploy, resulting in instant demise. Abruptly, gunfire erupts, prompting Royce to swiftly evade bullets and flank the shooter. Nikolai, a Russian commando, recalls nothing beyond being in combat. Royce and Cuchillo share a similar encounter. They were going about their routine when a blinding light incapacitated them, only to awaken in the sky. Upon turning, they encounter Isabel, a sniper from the Israel Defense Forces, who aims her weapon at them. She expresses her familiarity with many jungles but remains disoriented in this one, having witnessed more individuals descending. In consensus, they opt to venture together in search of the others, oblivious to the nearby presence of Hanzo, a Yakuza member observing them. He endeavors to tail them but opts to remove his shoes upon encountering mud. As they delve deeper, they chance upon two engaged in combat: Stans, a death row inmate, and Mombasa, a rebel affiliated with a South African organization. The men halt their fight upon noticing the others and decide to unite, recognizing the power in unity. Stans points out a man on a tree, Dr. Edwin, whose parachute snagged on a branch. Royce dislodges him by shooting the branch, causing him to plunge into a nearby lake. Edwin echoes the collective confusion about their whereabouts and situation. While the group progresses, Isabel disregards Stan's unsettling and inappropriate remarks. They discover Hanzo standing in the mud, not stuck but frozen in place as he examines a peculiar totem surrounded by numerous bones. Mombasa suggests a hunter might collect trophies, emphasizing that in his culture, warriors with impressive trophies earn the highest esteem. Nikolai considers it a test, yet Isabel opposes the idea, noting that not everyone among them has a military background. Cuchillo suggests it's a ransom, Stans proposes it's an experiment, and then they ponder if they're in hell. Royce interrupts, asserting the reason doesn't matter, their focus should be on finding an escape. Following Royce, the group traverses the jungle, where Nikolai is intrigued by a flower. Edwin intervenes, cautioning that it's poisonous and would induce paralysis. Nikolai expresses gratitude and pledges to safeguard Edwin going forward. Continuing their journey, Isabel urges Royce to pause and demonstrates something. She crafts an improvised compass and floats it on the water, but it keeps spinning in circles. In response, Royce observes that the sun hasn't shifted since their arrival, indicating navigation will be challenging. He further suggests to Isabel that, given their collective combat skills and a doctor among them, they were likely selected deliberately. Isabel speculates that Royce served as a soldier before transitioning into a mercenary, but he declines to elaborate. Further along their journey, the group encounters a cage covered with a sheet, which they cautiously unveil, revealing it to be unoccupied. The presence of bloodstains suggests that some creature inhabited the cage. Upon gazing upward, they observe numerous cages suspended from the trees, indicating they'll have plenty of company. As the group progresses, Mombasa stumbles over a branch, unwittingly setting off a trap. Suddenly, they face various dangers: a massive swinging tree trunk, falling wooden stakes, and even a large bear trap, yet they evade them all. Isabel, in her haste, tumbles into a hole but clings to the edge, surviving the fall. Royce rushes to her aid, rescuing her just in time. Using the scope on her weapon, Isabel searches for the individual responsible for the traps, only to find him already deceased. Edwin assesses the decomposition, indicating the man has been deceased for 2 weeks, while Nikolai examines the pockets, revealing he was formerly a USA Special Forces soldier. Royce concludes the traps weren't intended for them but for the creature responsible for the man's demise, likely larger than them given the trap placement. As they resume their journey, Mombasa senses something amidst the trees but opts to disregard it. Nevertheless, His observation is accurate. An observer is monitoring them using infrared technology and mimicking their speech. Shortly after, they reach the jungle's edge and gaze at the sky, encountering a startling sight, an array of unfamiliar planets and stars, signaling they're not on Earth. Royce determines they need to locate whoever brought them here to request a return. Upon re-entering the jungle, a drone swiftly approaches their heads, startling Stans. He expresses dissatisfaction with his lack of firearms and demands one from Mombasa, but before another altercation can erupt, they hear growling emanating from the jungle. Suddenly, a terrifying creature charges at them, prompting the group to open fire immediately. Despite quickly dispatching the beast, more of its kind emerge. With no firearms, Edwin and Stans opt to flee. As Edwin stumbles, a monster lunges at him, but Isabel swiftly dispatches it with a precise shot. Meanwhile, Nikolai and Hanzo take down another beast with their gunfire, while Royce eliminates one using only his knife. Stans finds himself under attack by a monster and defends himself valiantly with a knife until Mombasa arrives and dispatches the creature with well-aimed shots. Seeking safety, Edwin climbs a tree, while Isabel faces a beast alone. Contemplating drastic action, she considers self-deleting. However, a distant whistle reverberates through the jungle, causing all the beasts to abruptly flee. After reuniting, the group realizes they're being hunted. The creatures they encountered were hunting dogs, assessing the threat level, and the whistle summoned them back. The planet functions as an extensive hunting ground, with the beings in the cages serving as prey. Mombasa alerts the group to a missing member, and they hear Cuchillo's cries for help echoing from the trees. The group locates Cuchillo, badly injured and on his knees. Isabel moves to assist him, but Royce intervenes, warning it's a trap, which he demonstrates by throwing a stone. Stans remarks there's little they can do, and the rest concur, despite Isabel's objections. As the men depart, Isabel, feeling compassion, ends Cuchillo's suffering with a gunshot, though she hears him plea for help once more. As it turns out, Cuchillo was already deceased, and the voice was merely a recorded trick employed by the lurking hunter, who observes from the shadows. Continuing onward, Royce ponders the scant clues available to discern the enemy's tactics. The hunter intends to spur them into flight. Royce proposes tracking the dog prints to confront the hunter preemptively. Shortly after, the group encounters a camp, appalled by the unsettling scene. Diverse races' bodies impaled on stakes and assorted creature remnants strewn across the ground, indicating that humans aren't the sole prey on this planet. To their dismay, at the camp's rear, they discover a colossal, grotesque creature tethered to a stake, identified as a predator. As Royce observes Isabel's unusual reaction, Nikolai approaches and prods the alien with his weapon, prompting the creature to roar in response, revealing it's alive. Isabel urges immediate departure, but Edwin alerts them to Royce's absence. Abruptly, spears emerge, fatally striking Mombasa, prompting Royce to emerge from the shadows, unleashing a frenzied barrage of gunfire. Assisted by the others, Royce unveils the predator, concealed with a cloaking device, through an intense barrage of bullets. Evading the predator's laser shots, the group flees, triggering explosions and fires. During their escape, they tumble down a hill and plunge into a river. Unbeknownst to them, a drone captures their location and relays it to the camp, unveiling the presence of 3 predators engaged in the hunt. Safe within a cave, Isabel reproaches Royce for luring the group into danger. Despite her anger, Royce defends his actions, citing the valuable insight gained about their pursuers. Suspecting Isabel's familiarity with the predator, Royce questions her. She confesses to hearing tales of similar aliens sighted in Guatemala in 1987, a nod to the original movie. Royce proposes establishing a defensive perimeter to funnel the predators into a choke point, and the group agrees. They assume their positions in the jungle, where Isabel spots movement through her scope. However, the predators refrain from attacking, prompting Royce to suspect they are aware of the traps. Adjusting their strategy, they designate Edwin as bait, prompting him to sprint through the jungle to lure the enemy into pursuit. Isabel employs her sniper skills to take down the perceived hunter, prompting the group to investigate the body. They realize it's not a predator but another captive from the cages. Isabel admits she missed her shot, evidenced by the bullet lodged in a nearby tree. Abruptly, they hear a voice and a figure materializes behind Royce, utilizing a cloaking device. The hunter removes his mask, revealing he's not a predator but another human named Noland. He advises the group to keep quiet to evade detection by the hunters. Noland, having heard them since their arrival, warns of an impending storm and guides them to his hideout, an old, wrecked ship. He discloses his military background and recounts being dropped here in a box 10 seasons ago, emerging as the lone survivor from that group. Since then, he has remained concealed, surviving by scavenging from the predators and their victims. His time here has evidently affected him, as he occasionally converses with an imaginary friend. Noland has insights about the predators, having taken down 2 or 3. It's crucial to conceal humans' heat signature to avoid detection. Moreover, there's a rift between big and small predators, evident from the captive one they saw. Each season brings new victims, accompanied by 3 evolving predators armed with advanced tactics and technology. Royce notes that if predators return each season, there must be a ship nearby, but Noland doubts they can operate it. Later, Noland retires to bed, and the group engages in conversation. Nikolai shares a photo of his children with Edwin, while Stans reveals a eerie tattoo of his sister. Hanzo admires a samurai sword, surprising Edwin with his English-speaking ability. Edwin questions why Hanzo remained silent until now, to which Hanzo explains he lost fingers as punishment for talking too much. Isabel theorizes to Royce that they were selected because they were akin to predators on Earth, being considered monsters themselves. However, Royce is fixated on locating the ship and believes he could persuade the captured predator in the camp to pilot it, as the enemy of their enemy could become an ally. Smoke swiftly fills the room, and the group realizes Noland has vanished, leaving them trapped with a blocked door. Edwin suspects Noland may be plotting against them to seize their possessions. Meanwhile, Noland is spotted outside stoking the fire, prompting Royce to detonate a bomb against the wall. Although it startles Noland, the wall remains unscathed. Royce's intention wasn't to breach the wall, he deliberately generated noise to attract a nearby predator's attention. The tactic succeeds, and a predator swiftly dispatches Noland with laser blasts. Subsequently, the alien manipulates a panel on the wall, creating a small opening into the group's room, but refrains from further action, seemingly enjoying toying with them. Royce cautiously approaches, inserting his gun into the hole to shoot a flare, confirming the absence of the predator. The group pushes off the panel and escapes, now navigating through dim corridors. Edwin unintentionally gets separated, yelling for help while igniting another flare, attracting the predator's attention. Edwin hears a growl and flees until he reunites with the group. He pleads for help, but they opt to depart without him. Suddenly, the predator confronts Edwin, but before it strikes, Nikolai intervenes. Edwin dashes away as Nikolai confronts the alien, but his resistance is short-lived. The predator impales Nikolai, who defiantly spits on its face before triggering a detonator. The explosion claims both their lives, and a shockwave engulfs the ship, but the group escapes just in time. As they emerge outside, Stans jubilates over slaying an alien, but a predator suddenly appears and knocks him down, revealing its presence. The creature advances toward Royce, but Stans intervenes, launching a frenzied assault on the predator, urging the others to flee. Enraged by its prey's escape, the predator hurls Stans to the ground and wrenches out his spine. With a mighty roar, it alerts the third predator, which begins tracking the group's trail. Sensing pursuit, Hanzo instructs the others to flee while he remains to delay their pursuer. As the trio departs, Hanzo removes his jacket and draws his katana, confronting the predator just as it discovers him. Engaged in a fierce duel, both combatants brandish their blades. Despite being overpowered by the predator's might on several occasions, Hanzo successfully slashes its abdomen during the intense swordfight. After exchanging several more blows, they simultaneously strike each other, collapsing to the ground and succumbing to their injuries simultaneously. Meanwhile, Edwin inadvertently triggers a trap, rendering him unable to walk. Royce notes that the trap was designed to restrain rather than kill, and now Edwin's inability to move is a burden on the group. Royce suggests either abandoning Edwin or setting traps around him. Edwin then displays Nikolai's family photo, claiming them as his own children. Isabel opposes leaving or harming Edwin, prompting Royce to depart alone. Shortly afterward, Royce reaches the camp and negotiates with the captured predator, proposing freedom in return for departing the planet. Royce verifies the alien's comprehension, then frees it by cutting the chains. The predator briefly grasps Royce's neck, examines him, and then reattaches its mask, activating its gear. Displaying a star map on its arm brace, the predator selects Earth, finalizing the agreement before summoning its spaceship. Isabel aids Edwin in walking, but they trigger a trap, ensnaring them in a net. The third predator captures them and hauls them to camp, tossing them into a pit. Upon realizing its fellow alien is liberated, it engages in combat. Seizing the opportunity, Royce dashes toward the ship. The spacecraft ascends while the predators battle. Amidst the skirmish, the pursuing alien gains the upper hand, decapitating the ship's owner. Victorious, it detonates the vessel. Meanwhile, in the pit, Isabel expresses no remorse for aiding Edwin, who suddenly emerges and assaults her with his toxin-laced scalpel. Edwin, a psychopathic killer, aligns with the planet's monstrous inhabitants, opting to remain. Just as he prepares to strike Isabel, Royce intervenes, having failed to reach the ship. Royce aids them in escaping the pit. Isabel seeks to warn Royce about Edwin, but the poison leaves her speechless. Royce ensures Isabel's safety before Edwin attempts a surprise attack. Swiftly, Royce subdues Edwin, using his own poison against him. Royce then sets up a trap for Edwin, leaving him to encounter the predator. As the alien approaches Edwin, it triggers a series of grenades, resulting in the doctor's demise, igniting a fire, and hurling the predator away. After recovering, the predator encounters Royce, who manipulates the flames to disrupt the alien's infrared vision, its sole means of sight. Royce wields an axe and dashes around, striking the predator, darting into the flames, and repeating the cycle. Enduring numerous blows, the predator focuses on detecting Royce's heartbeat and fires at the tree, injuring him. The alien tosses Royce around, but before it can finish him off, Isabel struggles to reach her weapon and fires. Though wounded, the alien retaliates by hurling a dagger at Isabel's shoulder. Seizing the opportunity, Royce grabs his axe and strikes the predator repeatedly. Finally, he ends the fight by decapitating the alien. Royce then joins Isabel, and they observe more cages descending from the sky. Determined, Royce declares they need to find a way to escape promptly. Don't forget to like, subscribe and enable notifications for more content like this. Thank you for watching.